the sound of Radio 2. 15 years of fun. Music. Too much.
This is BBC Radio 2, the Light programme, and on 1500 metres long wave and VHF, with Radio 1 on 247 metres. Good morning. This is Paul Hollingdale on this opening day of Radio 1 and Radio 2, welcoming you to Breakfast Special, which will be broadcast on the usual Light programme wavelengths up to 7 o'clock. Hi there, Paul Hollingdale here, and this is what we'd like to say.
Wake up easy, start the day right. Wake up easy, smile and be bright. We'll start the day off with music for you. The latest word on the weather and news. Wake up easy, smile and be gay. Put on the coffee, start a new day. It's time for music, so out of that bed and wake up. Wake up. And wake up easy, don't be such a sleepy head.
The hills are alive with the sound of music, with songs they have sung for 1,000 years.
Spotlight 1 and 2. For the next 60 minutes or so, you'll be meeting some of the people who'll be making the music, the comedy, the drama, the excitement of Radio 1 and 2.
The time is 10 o'clock. You're listening to Radio 1 with Radio 2, and it's the Jimmy Young Show. Morning all, and WWWW. Very warm Wednesday welcomes all round, you see. It's rather a hazy one down here in London, I'm afraid, but not to worry about all that. Ooh, that went in a hurry. Let's kick off this morning with the Archers, and we will have a tiny touch of what? This.
Sugar.
Evening on Late Night Extra tonight, the latest on the Moonshot, an interview with Doris Day about her success in her latest film, The Boston Strangler, in which she plays the title role, the Bishop of Woolwich talking about Portnoy's Complaint, which is a book and not a disease.
Wakey,
The time in Britain and Germany is 12 noon. In Australia, it's 9 p.m. In the Far East, it's 6:30 p.m. In Canada, it's 7 a.m. And in New Zealand, it's 11 p.m. Time once again for worldwide family favorites.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Round the Horne.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present The Navy Lark by Laurie Wyman and starring Stephen Barry, Leslie Phillips and John Pertwee.
Good morning to you. This is Pete Murray behind the microphone. Our guest of the morning is Mr. Dick Emery, who we look forward to meeting in the very near future. Some well-known names in the world of song are celebrating their birthdays today. Our Gracie Fields and folk singer Joan Byers. And yet another name in the world of song is celebrating his birthday, and this information has been imparted to us by Jennifer Smith of 32 Ash Road, Princess Risborough in Buckinghamshire, who would like to wish a very happy birthday to that very classy pop singer, Scott Walker.
BBC Radio 2.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid one thing's never going to change. I shall always worry about you, Jim.
There have been a good many changes in Waggoner's Walk since the 18th century, when the men who gave their name to the walk paused on the way up the hill to Hampstead to refresh their horses at the trough and themselves at the inn. The area has long since been engulfed by the sprawl of London, but something of the village atmosphere remains. Of course, not many of the inhabitants are Londoners by birth. Most have come from all corners of the country to live and work here, like the girl who's just stepped out of the taxi in this, the first episode called Moving Pictures.
On BBC Radio 1 and Radio 2, the time 2 minutes past 3. Good afternoon to you. From now till 5 o'clock, you're more than welcome to the Terry Wogan Show. Today, it's a sort of a two-way ceremony. The sun is coming down from the sky, which would be a big surprise if it came up from the pavements. But up there, on the roof, clad in gingham gowns and the prettiest of dresses, some of our very senior executives of the BBC, and of course, in front of them, held on a great ceremonial chair, the DG himself. Good morning, Sir Charles. Good morning. Don't wave, sir. You'll fall. Oh.
It's After 7 with Brian Matthew.
Hello, nice to be with you again. Hobnobbing with your royalty tonight, we are. In your daily magazine, After 7.
Friday night is music night. Stanley Black, the BBC Concert Orchestra leader John Bradbury, our star singers Pamela Field, Ewell Dean and Michael Wakeham, the band of the Irish Guards, Director of Music Major Mick Lane, and the Nigel Brooks Singers. And they are all for your pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, in our weekly program of Music for Everybody.
Upon the clock say it's time to begin, and we're glad you're tuning our way. The music's all here and waiting to spin as we start to get ready to brighten your day. As you get out of bed, your radio smiles and says good morning, it's a musical day. And that smile on your dial makes your cares and worries go away. So if you're heading for town or out in the country, let your radio entertain you. Radio 2 is company, in tune with you on Radio 2. In tune with you on Radio 2. In tune with you on Radio 2. In tune with you on Radio 2.
For the good times.
Got a number 7 in the charts back in 1973 for Perry Como for the good times.
Good morning!
And that's it. Tom Edwards in this chair tomorrow morning between 6 o'clock and 8. Once again, apologies for the croaks this morning. Ray Moore had a similar thing about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Must have lied dormant in me, I think. Anyway, have yourselves a good weekend. I'll be back with you on Monday. Colin Berry, thanking producer Dennis O'Keefe for all the hard work that he does, and hoping that you have a very good weekend and get your Christmas shopping done. Okay, bye-bye.
bong, bing, bong. Hello, good morning, Great Britain. Is anybody out there? Not so good this morning because it's a different microphone and I have to be careful. Right, is anybody out there? I am pleased. Welcome to the Tom Edwards Thing, live for a Saturday morning. 3 hours worth of fun, frolic and frivolry. Well, I'm working on that.
Charlie Chester. With a box full of records and a bag full of post, it's Radio Soapbox and Charlie, your host.
Europe 77 from Spain.
Radio 2 on 1500 meters and VHF.
Dell here again with the music of the dance band days. I hope you're enjoying the holiday and I hope that you enjoy the records we have for you.
Good afternoon, and a word of background concerning that signature tune. That Entertainment comes from one of the great songwriting teams, Schwartz and Dietz, and was written for one of the great Hollywood musicals, The Bandwagon, back in 1953. Not surprisingly, it was taken as the title of the big MGM retrospective that came out a few years back, a retrospective which revived some of the choicest musical production numbers of the century.
Hello again. In tonight's magazine of the movies, I'll be naming the winners of our Royal Film Competition, Kramer versus Kramer, so stay with us for that, you may be amongst them. And we'll also be celebrating the birthday of a very popular singing star.
You should be au fait with what's happening on the scene, baby.
I'd leave that to knowledgeable people like Dennis O'Keefe standing up there.
Wasn't he
your star?
Lots of people think
Do you remember his films?
Yeah, he was great.
Oh, he was a star then. What? All that Cutlass stuff.
He's aged. No, that was Douglas Fairbanks.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he never
really,
picked up
he
a
looks
cutlass.
like him. He does. Older, but like him.
Hasn't got the strength to pick up a cutlass.
Right,
Listen,
come
I've got
on,
a letter.
Be offensive. Go on.
Look, Kay Edwards, Mrs.
Yes.
Stop making noise when I'm talking. It's my program.
On, get on with it.
This is my program, Jim. I have written...
a lot you know, kid.
Well, it's the BBC.
You haven't heard yet. The 16th, that's the crucial
The BBC's program. I have written to the BBC...
You haven't received the letter yet, have you?
No, I've got it here. Listen to this.
The internal mail is very slow.
There are people out there...
come on.
There are people out there who think that you are in a position of authority here.
And that is true.
I have written to the BBC and Jimmy Young to protest about the drivelling pop music we get every morning.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a mad fool, Hamilton. This is Radio 2. Oh. No, seriously, you're in tune with Radio 2 on 1500 meters and VHF.
John Dunn.
Hello again, good afternoon to you and welcome. Well, a weird and diverse collection of goodies today.
Like a strange British aphrodisiac that we're selling to the Japanese. How the Germans are revolting against the parking meters. A butterfly museum that's just opened. The 19th century Elephant Man, a real man. And after 7 guests, Emmylou Harris and Jim Glazer.
Brian Matthew.
Hello and welcome to Radio 2's Arts Magazine with a couple of new books, itinerant jazzman George Chisholm and the opening night of the RSC's Stratford season, Round Midnight. We also hear about a new play at the Birmingham Rep, and Tony Barnfield looks ahead to some future radio and television programmes. But first, Manhattan Transfer.
Radio 2 has made a move, but we haven't gone too far. 693 or 909 kilohertz is where we are.
Hello, this is Jimmy, and welcome to Radio 2's Budget Special. During the next 3 hours, we'll be bringing you the major decisions taken by the Chancellor, Sir Geoffrey Howe, as he announces them, and we'll have expert analysis from our economic editor, Dominic Harrod. I'll be talking later on in the programme, incidentally, to trade unionists and businessmen on the consequences of the government's action, and indeed how they'll affect prices and employment during the next year. First, however, we kick off with music. It's Marion Montgomery, and a song called There'll Be Some Changes Made.
Yes, hello and a very good evening to you, and a special warm welcome to you from me, Raymore, to this, our rendezvous for a reverie through into the wee small hours of Sunday morning. And tonight, for my very last Saturday show, I've got a glittering selection of sounds that I'm certain we're both going to enjoy. So pour yourself a drink, turn down the lights, turn up the sound. It's the Late Show. Yes, and even though it is almost goodbye time for us both, no tears just yet. I think we'll save them till after 1 o'clock, because down there below me, the bright lights of London's West End glittering and sparkling in this icy January night. And from steamy cellars in Soho and pubs in the Charing Cross Road and nightclubs in Mayfair come the sounds of this Saturday city.
Midsummer Day it is, 1984, and now we're on the slide to Christmas. Not that I wish to depress you. The purpose of this program is to bring back happy midsummers, springs and winters past, all seasons, all shapes and sizes of music, collected under the heading Radio 2 All-Time Greats.
Hello and a very good afternoon to you. I hope you're all feeling reasonably fit and well today. To tell you the truth, I'm delighted to sit down for the next 2 hours. You know, the old 4-inch heels didn't last out too well at the Ideal Home exhibition yesterday, so the shoes are kicked off today, the old slippers are on, and we're all set for a very busy programme.
And this is where the night really begins with...
You and the night and the music fill me with flaming desire, setting my being completely on fire. You and the night and the music thrill me, but will we be one after the night and the music are done?
And a very warm welcome for me, Sheila Tracy, to the start of the Easter weekend. And where better to spend it than keeping me company right through until 5 a.m. Or I'll keep you company if you like. Anyway, we'll keep each other company. How's that? So, let's go.
Hello, good afternoon on FA Cup Day. This is Peter Brackley with sport
on 2. It's one of the best quarter-final lineups for years. The two second division sides still left in are both at home. Watford against the holders Arsenal, West Ham against Aston Villa. Ipswich, the team of the moment, are at Everton. And the tie of the round, Tottenham against the favourites Liverpool. We've reporters at all 4 grounds, second half commentary from one of them. Stay with us here for Sport on 2.
And the soccer headlines on this first Saturday: 35 goals are scored in the First Division. Champions Liverpool are involved in a 6-goal thriller at Norwich. Watford equalise in injury time after Gordon Strachan had given Manchester United the lead on his league debut. New signings Clive Allen and John Chidozie score as Spurs win 4-1 at Everton. And there are wins for promoted Sheffield Wednesday and Newcastle United. In the second division, newly promoted Oxford win 3-0 at Huddersfield. Well, football reports coming up shortly, but as always at this time, we have the full classified football results, and we welcome back our specialist, James Alexander-Gordon.
Canon League Division 1. Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1. Aston Villa 1, Coventry City 0. Everton 1, Tottenham Hotspur 4.
It's 5 o'clock. This is Jean Challis at the news desk. The Israeli government has called on all members of the Palestine Liberation Organization in Beirut to hand in their weapons to the authorities there and head for Syria.
22 minutes to 6.
Competition time with David Hamilton on Radio 2.
A new contestant on Spot the Intro today. It's Marilyn Faulkner from Beckett Road, Whirl, Western-super-Mare, Avon. Hello, Marilyn. Yes. Begin the Begin. Julio Iglesias. I should have asked you that, shouldn't I? But you probably knew anyway. So we'll give you a pound for Begin the Begin, and as you've begun it, we'll go on to number 2.
Hello and thanks for joining us this evening, and during our first hour we'll be meeting up with 2 singers who've had some big hits but are still trying to make that last rung up the ladder to the top. We'll drop by Duke's Place in Tulsa, Oklahoma first to meet up with a young lady with a very raunchy style, Gus Hardin.
A man came up to me on Bank Holiday Monday when I was playing in Halifax and said, "Well, that proves it then, your programme is recorded." Well, I explained to him that it proves nothing of the sort. It was just that night's programme that was recorded. Tonight I'm here in the basement of Broadcasting House as you listen, and I can even tell you that the time is just coming up to 20 seconds past 3 minutes past 9. And that's pretty good for me because I can't normally tell the time.
Top score! We present Pop Score, a quiz game played by those in the know on questions of pop and popular music. Keeping the score and popping the questions is your chairman, Pete Murray.
It's the Monday Movie Quiz with Ray Moore.
How well do you know the law? You could find out by joining our panel of celebrities in the law game. Together with them, you'll hear dramatizations of 3 separate incidents that led the people concerned into court. See if you can guess who won each case and why.
And here's the man who'll be judging how close you came to the right answer, your chairman, Shaw Taylor.
Hello, Cheeky.
Hello, Cheeky. Hello.
Hello, Cheeky.
Hello, Cheeky. What the hell are you, Cheeky? Hello.
Hello. You're all under arrest.
We are the Grumbleweeds. Well, we are the Grumbleweeds.
The random jottings of Hinge and Bracket with Dr. Evadne Hinge and Dame Hilda Bracket. With Daphne Hurd as Maud and friends and neighbours at Stackton Trestle in Harping on It.
Here with the very latest news are the news Huddlines, starring Roy Hudd with Chris Emmett, June Whitfield and the Huddliners.
Well, thank you very much indeed, folks, and welcome to the show. Yes, we're back for the 17th series. 17 series, eh? We've been going nearly as long as the miners' strike, haven't we? What a week at Blackpool, eh? Support for the miners, Tony Benn attacking the police, Arthur Scargill threatened with prison, and Neil Kinnock outvoted. It's been pits, twits, writs, and shambles. It really has.
Sing something simple as cares go by. Sing something simple, just you and I.
We invite you to Sing Something Simple, a selection of songs old and new, sung by the Cliff Adams Singers, accompanied by Jack Emblow.
We'll sing something simple for you, something for you.
Hello again and welcome once more to our mini marathon of favourite music for this Sunday morning.
Good evening and welcome. As I mentioned 3 weeks ago, before we parted company for my break, that when I returned it would be to present a programme for our 30th anniversary. Yes, we started on the 15th of November 1959. And thanks to you, a marvellously loyal and most appreciative audience, we have, with mutual pleasure, come this far. And I hope I shall continue for a while yet.
Hello again from the Friday Club Square Chair.
Yes, that's our kind of music, we being the performers, presenter and production staff of the Radio Orchestra show.
Hello, Don McLean here to tell you how tickled I'll be on Good Morning Sunday this week.
My guess for the lead-up to the general election is the Prime Minister of Mirth, Ken Dodd. Is there a serious side to him? If there is, I'll find it. So get your chuckle muscles in starting blocks for Good Morning Sunday, 7 o'clock this Sunday.
Radio 2.
Hello again, Nigel Ogden here with The Organist Entertains. Now, as some of you may have noticed in the Radio Times, this week is rather a special one for me because I've actually been presenting this programme for the past 10 years, although it certainly doesn't seem that long.
And greetings, Pop Pickers, it's Pick of the Pops. Well, we're knee-deep in the other-remembered oldies for the next hour and a half on 2FM. They're a part of us all, I guess, from good, bad or indifference. And today it's 31 years ago in 1966 and 25 years ago in 1972, right? We have 2 UK climbers from 1966. We have a Canadian number 1 and 2 UK climbers from 1972. And from both top tens, Elvis Presley, the Beach Boys, Chris Farlow, the Beatles, Chris Montez, the Troggs, the Bee Gees, Rod Stewart and Hawkwind, and many more. And from 1966, one of our climbers from David and Jonathan.
Johnny Walker. He's on!
88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2.
And good evening. Welcome along to the new That's the Way It Was. This is the new organic Johnny Walker show. Will it be the same? Well, that is the big question. Anyway, 3 things to say. Number 1 is it's great to be back. Number 2, if you send us an email or a letter along the way, thank you very much indeed. You've just no idea how important they were. Just clinging on by the fingertips at some point.
Wake up to Wogan on Radio 2.
And double his audience.
Terry Wogan.
It's a sort of fruitless quest, this, isn't it, for the other listener? There's nobody out there. Can you hear me, Mother?
Once upon a time, there was a disc jockey who won no accolades, no awards, and whom nobody listened to.
Sorry, Terry who?
Not Lisa.
No, I never listen.
You're joking. No, I like that nice man who interviews all the politicians.
And it was always that nice man who interviews all the politicians who won everything. It made TW so mad.
And there's nothing to show for decades spent reading the cattle reports, followed by 12 years getting up at 5 in the morning for Radio 2, followed by 8 years hard slog on the telly. JY's got his medal. You got Zippo.
Then one day, mid-moan...
Face up to it, man. You'll never get your gong now. Not as a tired old DJ.
Not so, TW. You shall get your gong.
What?
And that's exactly what happened. TW lived happily ever after, presenting Radio 2's Sony award-winning breakfast show every weekday morning from 7:30, and everyone listened. Apart from that nice man who interviewed all the politicians.
Is Terry Wogan on the radio?
Radio 2. I want you to spring from your bed and with a happy smile say after me, I will listen to 2.
88 to 91 FM. Different every time. BBC Radio 2.
Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to try and keep him away from his pike fishing rod. Many thanks, as ever. You've been absolutely marvellous. To Mike behind the glass, studio managing, all his colleagues, of course, Julie Newman for just being there and staying there, and Showtime Tunes, and Camilla Di Clementi. Patience Cod. It doesn't have the same ring, does it? I'll see you next week, if we're spared. I'm getting used to a 4-day week. 88 to 91 FM. Terry's next, after John. Radio 2 from the BBC.
The news headlines, it's 7:30.
So, the Unchained Melody fading away, and indeed, so am I. It's the last programme today, as you well know. I don't want to leave you, it's true to say, but nonetheless, that's what's been decreed, so that's what we have to do. I shall look forward to hearing from you and seeing you, and of course, as I say, you can read me in the Sunday Express from January the 5th, and I look forward to seeing you in theatres and so on. Thank you very, very much for the last 29 years today. I've loved every minute of our time together, and I trust you've enjoyed it as well. Wish you a very, very happy Christmas, very happy and peaceful New Year. God bless, take care, and for the very last time, I fear, bye for now.
Nice to end on a bit of cheering. Very good afternoon to you. The BBC loses a chairman and director general in 2 days. We report on whether the corporation's independence is at risk. The German cannibal trial ends. The guilty man gets 8 years, but does it make a difference that his victim chose to be eaten? After 1 o'clock, we discuss rape, the way it affects the victim, the way the law deals with rapists. And we would love your calls for that hour after 1. Have you rebuilt your life after rape? 0500 288 291.
Bruce Springsteen, born to run on Radio 2, and love to the 2 or 3 of you who recognize that as our personal good luck charm record, the one with which we began and ended our original run of American hits programs. And now here we are with America's greatest and latest hits, and it is a historic hit for Madonna. She was frozen in a dead heat with Diana Ross. Most top 10 hits for a woman, 30. Now, Frozen breaks the tie.
Good evening, this is Russell Davis, celebrating the art, craft and inspiration of the popular song, failing to keep the family free of this season's fantastic variety of contagious sicky bugs, agreeing with my wife that we'll just have to leave any presents we might get each other till after Christmas, and preparing to give you tonight the result of the Grand Duets poll that's been running since long before the recent Ice Age began. Talking my wife, she reminds me that I missed out Hanukkah this year, which is true, so a tiny nod in lieu.
BBC Radio 2. Sunday night at 10 with me, Claire Teal. And tonight, I'm inviting you to dream a little dream with me. Yes, our theme tonight is dreams. But we've also got the odd nightmare. I think you can probably guess who that's by. The music drifts in from John Wilson and his orchestra, Nelson Riddle, the NDO, Maynard Ferguson and Stan Kenton. But we start with the mainstream power band who wonder if dreams can come true.
88 to 91 FM. David Jacobs, BBC Radio 2.
Hello there. Let's be together from now until midnight so that we can share that which many call our kind of music, all of which comes from within the David Jacobs collection. Summer has gone and autumn has arrived, a cause for some to be depressed. But there's still plenty of warmth in the sun, when you can find it. Take the advice of Mr. Sinatra and snatch it when you can.
Do some more Eurovision factoids. Fact. In 1969, there were 4 winners of Eurovision: France, Spain, the Netherlands and the United Kingdom. The Scandinavian countries were very upset. They said that the jury system had failed and they boycotted the 1970 contest. Tim Smith.
However, a Scandinavian country holds the record for having the greatest ever Eurovision winner. It was Yardette Swingy Swingy Rock and Roll. It came from Norway. The group were called the Bobby Soxers and they won in 1985.
What a song.
Good morning, Avids, and welcome to a somewhat seasonal edition of the show, as I'm afraid we shan't be with you next Saturday. However, to open this edition, we're going to play the Hollies' 10th consecutive top 20 hit from 1966, and their last to feature Eric Haydock on bass, I Can't Let Go.
Read into that first tune what you will. Elton John and the Bitch Is Back. I may have to flounce off in a hissy fit in just a few moments. I can't possibly work with this. It's awful. Yeah, here we are. The Best Time of the Day show has reconvened. On the show this morning, classics for the masses, our attempt to make high culture more appealing for everyone, because sometimes it is a bit hard going. And also, the 4:15 one-off canteen is preparing to reopen after an elfin safety scare. A queue of hungry folk is forming ready to get in there early. Plus, there ain't nobody here but us chickens. All will be explained before 5. And remember, buffoons are go.
Paul Jones here with 2 hours of rhythm and blues. Or rather, 25 years of rhythm and blues. So let's begin again as we started the programme in 1986.
I'm Mike Harding and you're very welcome indeed to this week's folk and acoustic show. On tonight's programme, I'm dead chuffed to say that my guest is none other than Kate Rusby. She got a special new double album out to mark 20 years in the folk world, and I caught up with her recently to talk about all of that and the special live concert that she's doing for Radio 2 next Thursday, the 18th of October. Also tonight, I've got new releases from top dance band Wap Weasel and the indie folk troupe The Moulettes. We've also got news of tours by people like Faustus and this particular gentleman, England's treasure, Ralph McTell. Here he is with Don't Think Twice, It's All Right.
Opening up hour 3 of the Bob Harris Show. We're here on Radio 2 through until 3 o'clock, and I'm playing one or two kind of alternative seasonal songs tonight. Yes, we've had one or two favourites, but mostly it's seasonal songs that you might not know by artists that possibly you haven't heard before. And that's certainly the case with the next track. In fact, this isn't even really quite a seasonal song, but it has such strong seasonal overtones. I will just tell you, the first time I heard this was at South by Southwest in 2004 in Austin, Texas, and I paid a visit to a local radio station there, KGSR, and they've got a great DJ there called Jody Denberg, who is the kind of program controller. And he'd put this track on air, and he was telling me they had never, ever had a reaction like it to any track they'd played previously on air. So I thought you'd like to hear it tonight. It seems particularly apt. One Moment More is the album. Mindy Smith is the artist, and this is Come to Jesus.
And this is going from Paul Chatfield for all his friends in Torquay and wonderful nieces Jade, Katrina and Claudia. One of my favourite songs as a child. Now my 2 boys enjoy it too. 35 years on, says Helen from Milton Keynes. Play it for my brother Dave and his 2 nephews, my sons Matthew and Johnny. And from Haddenham near Ely in Cambridgeshire, David Thompson says, this would be a nice one. Oh, to my wife, please. Hasn't had a brilliant last couple of months, but 64, had an operation on her shoulder. She's feeling much better now, and she'll feel even better when she gets a quick message from our sponsor, and then my brother.
Hello, darling. Phew, there's something funny around here. What is it? Oh, it's you. Come here and sit down. You're going to have the truth told about you and put on record.
We're going to do our competition then. Are we sticking with the poker pick and a poke-knee?
Well, I did promise last week that it would be the last one.
Yes, you did. So that's presumably was the last one, so we have a new competition?
No, because I need to discuss something with you.
Please do.
Obviously, the animal-based ones seem to work.
They do seem to work.
And this will be our 9th week if we do the pig one. So I've got a new one.
Yeah.
But I need a title for it. Basically, it's based on...
Hold on, you want me to come up with the title, or you want the listeners?
Well, no, I just need yours since I've got 3.
Person.
It's about... it's based on a poodle and his 4 friends.
A poodle and his 4 friends?
And they're all into pop music.
So a pop-loving poodle?
So at the moment, I've got Pop Goes the Poodle.
Pop Goes the Poodle.
Pop Knows the Poodle.
Pop Knows the Poodle?
Yeah.
Right, because he knows pop.
Or the poodle plays pop.
OK, how about...
Yeah.
Pop Master.
Popmaster with Ken Bruce on BBC Radio 2.
On their 1975 chart debut, the Captain and Tennille sang Love Will What?
Keep Us Together.
Keep Us Together, correct. 2 of the #1 singles by the Kinks have the word you. Somewhere in the title, You Really Got Me is one of them. What's the other?
Tired of Waiting for You.
Yes, well done. Bonus question on A Matter of Time. I'm going to play you the middle section from 1989 Top 10 hit by Cher. What's the title, please? Which song is that?
Turn Back Time.
If I Could Turn Back Time, yes, good. In which year did this week's top 3 have Annie's Song by James Galway at number 3, The Smurfs Song by Father Abraham at number 2, and You're the One That I Want by John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John at number 1?
77.
Is 1 year out?
Usually 1 year out.
Oh, 78 it was.
91 FM, more data, BBC Radio 2.
Paul in Gosford says, I once accidentally broke Jake Thackeray's pipe at Poynton Folk Club.
Great anecdote.
Gary Wilmot of Rap, MC Lump Hammer, is being honoured for his online business ventures.
My mates and I dropped Pearl Jam's Eddie Vedder whilst crowd surfing at the International in Manchester 1991. The venue wasn't as packed as he thought.
Well, thank you very much. Anything exciting coming up?
Christmas.
Of course.
Soon, Mrs. Henderson comes down to meet John in reception. Hello, John, says Mrs. Henderson. Hello, Mrs. Henderson, says John. What fun. Mrs. Henderson says, we're looking for someone who knows all about what's happening in the news to work part-time in the breaking news. And I also need someone to stick up for me when the editor comes in, laughs Mrs. Henderson. Already we see where this is going. John says, I know all about the news. I work part-time in the BBC, you know. I could be a right-hand man and let you have all of the insider stories. Mrs. Henderson says, it's only for 2 days a week, and I think you might be just the right person. Is £20 an hour all right? John thinks about all the nice clothes he could buy and says, yes, thank you. Soon it's time for John to go home. John catches the train back to Uckfield and buys some chips and a can of fizzy drink to have on the way home. See the sauce stains. When John gets home, Janet is unblocking the sink.
It's a personal problem.
How did your interview go, John? Asks Janet. John said, it was nice and early for the interview, and I got on with Mrs. Henderson very well. She said I might have to stick up for her. I told her I could be your star performer and inside of you on the breaking news desk twice a week.
Twice a week?
See Janet stick the sink plunger to John's forehead. Can you swing a whole newsreader around your head? Janet can. Poor John. I only read him. Don't pretend to understand.
Hi there, Tony Blackman here. I'm delighted to be a new presenter on Pick of the Pops. And for my very first show, I've selected two really terrific charts. We're going to go back 44 years to 1966 and 31 years to 1979. So let's find out who were the hit makers of that time. I'm going to be playing music from the Supremes. I love the Beach Boys. We'll have the Beach Boys, the Rolling Stones, Queen, ABBA, and Fleetwood Mac, and that's just a few. So here we go with a climber from 1966, a brand new entry at number 39. The Easy Beats, Friday on My Mind.
Chris Evans at breakfast.
Good morning. Knowing me, Alan Partridge. Knowing you, the Chris Evans Daily Download Listener.
And it's a simple show, it's a friendly show, it's a warm show.
In a world where travel matters, here is Lynn Bowles.
Number 9 is John, my wife Gloria, and Lynn both went to the same finishing school. Then he says apparently they both got a full refund.
Can't you do a new TV show where you and Moira are a couple?
Be like the new Terry and June.
Yes, yes.
You can call round and be the neighbour, and we always really come, oh no, it's him again.
Waking up the nation from 6:30 on BBC Radio 2.
And that's the BBC News at 5 minutes past 5.
Thank you, Alan.
BBC Radio 2.
Nicely timed.
Mail, Simon Mail.
All right, thank you, Steve.
Drive time's on and we're on our way home.
There you go, Wednesday done already. So in 3 words, watching West Wing. That's Joanne. That's what, working your way through all. Is it 10 series? What a great way of spending a Wednesday. Pizza, cake, balloons. There's Tinkerbell. Someone has a birthday open. All birthdays should be celebrated that way. Sick of assessments? Thank you, Sue. Printer not printing? That's Mary. I think you've run out of magenta. It's normally the problem. That's my assessment from here, anyway. Or a communication error, that's the other one. Or just hit it. Gently. Anyway, it's drive time here at Radio 2. Got some classic Stevie Wonder first.
88